Michael Lenoci, you're on Checkitow.
Yeah, you can check it out.
I'm happy to finally have you on.
Yeah, you're one of the first people I met in LA.
So I wanted to wait until you really have really established yourself as a comedian to have you on. No, I'm just kidding. You've done that for a while, dude. Like, as someone that's, first of all, we're both from South Florida.
Yeah.
Okay. Miami, Fort Lauderdale. We met out here in LA when you first started doing comedy at a time that I was actually doing stand-up comedy. That's not something I do as much anymore, but I still support the scene.
Thank God.
My comedian, my comedian friends. I learned a lot of lessons. I saw you learn a lot of lessons in the beginning of the day.
Yeah, I was bad when I started. We're all bad when we start.
But you stuck with it, and now you are a fan favorite. You're someone that people enjoy watching.
I hope so.
Yeah, and you have a comedy special out. What's the name?
Take Your Time.
Awesome.
Yeah, Take Your Time.
Which is kind of like, I mean, like you took your time establishing yourself and working the grind and getting out there, open mics and all that stuff. And look at you now.
Yeah, take your time with everything. Don't rush to get married. Don't rush to have kids.
Speaking of which, are you married and do you...
No, I'm taking my time.
You're taking your time.
Yeah.
I think you'd make a great dad.
People say that. And, when we find the right person, we'll think about that when we get there. But, right now I still have to work on my career.
And so tell me about the making of the special, and then we'll kind of get back into your background. What did it take to make the special? How do you feel about it? Where can people see it, by the way?
On YouTube. Mm-hmm. I'm a YouTube special comic.
Mm-hmm. Well, so is Andrew Schultz.
Yeah, that's true. I kind of just was working on a material for like a year. I put a tour together and I worked it around the country, for how I could. And then I had a director that was a friend, and then the venue was Jam in the Van. Which is
nice.
Yeah. So, and then we dressed it up so you can't even tell it's their venue. Mm-hmm. We had like 5 cameras. You put in a lot, some money, not a lot, but what's a lot? It was less than $10,000. So, self-produced, obviously, and I knew I was gonna just chop it up and put it online and put it out on YouTube. But it's a learning experience. Like, it was my first time shooting something, so now I know what to do going forward on the next ones, right? There's a little nerves, right? Because you're like, I hope this goes well. We only have 2 shots at it. But then in reality, like, you can play around more than you think you can. Like, there's so much I learned. Just doing it was growth. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. And that's with stand-up. You just do things, and regardless of the outcome or how it went or how you think it went, you grew from it. And you're better now from doing that. And that is what I realized. Now that I know how things work, editing, shooting, I have a better understanding of what I want to do for the next one, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And so that's exciting.
At what point did you find your voice and realize, okay, I can do this. This is a real thing. This is a career.
I was delusional and thought that from day one. Because, you have to be a little delusional. Like, I thought, I always said, I'm going to get to whatever I was thinking when I was a year in. What I was like, I'm going to get to that point. Right. I just knew I was, and I'll figure it out. I'll figure out how to get there. But when I felt like I was in the groove of things, I don't know, over 7-8 years in. And then even then, I didn't feel like I really know what I'm doing until the last 3 years. Okay. Like with my stand-up and how I write and what I'm doing on stage. There's no, any given situation, any room, I know I can go up and do what I do. And whether people are into it or receptive to it or not, I can navigate my way through that show or venue or whatever.
Have you gone through the grapevine, because you're friends with a lot of comics? Are there those bitter comics that don't put in the work? They think they're awesome, and then they see a guy like you where they're in the beginning I'm gonna outpace that guy, but then they see you up on the screen at the Laugh Factory and they're nowhere near that. Do you get any is there a competitive resentment?
I don't know. That's not my business if they have that. You know what I mean? I've always been a competitive guy, so there is somewhat, but it's different because it's art. So there's no way to compete your way better than someone, right? Because everybody has their thing, and whatever's receptive for people, they'll tell you, right? Mm-hmm. For a while, the industry ran things, right? Where they would be like, this is the person we want. We like them. They fit this box. They're this thing. We don't need that anymore. The internet tells us what they like. You don't have to be a specific thing. They could be like, I don't know what this guy is or does, but I like what he's doing. That is what we like and we're going to share it. And now he's booming because his numbers, he's getting more followers, he's getting more subscribers. They don't control, the industry has no control over who's next. They can still do it, but at the end of the day, we can do it on our own. And that's the only maybe competitive part, right? Because like I can't like out funny you.
Right.
I have to be funny, what's funny to me, right. What I think is funny, and then let the audience find me.
Let's get into your background a little bit. You rep South Florida. Like
Always.
Few comics
Forever.
Do. So tell me
Even when they're the worst team in the baseball.
Yeah. You got the old Florida Marlins hat.
Yeah.
Do they still wear those? No, that's the old.
I mean,
school,
unless
right?
they do throwback uniforms, which I'm sure they do sometimes. But
yeah. So tell me about being a South Florida sports fan and why it's become such a big part of your life, and how you rep it on stage with a lot of the Florida gear.
I just think it's like a part of who I am. I mean, I grew up with it. I love it so much, and it's like if I find something funny, I'll talk about it on stage. But there's really nothing. It's not like I do jokes about.
No, you don't do jokes, but you always have the apparel on.
Yes, I'll always rep the apparel or shirts or hats. It's just like I love it so much. It is my second passion. I like before I was in stand up, I was like, how do I find a way to work for these teams? Mm-hmm. Like I just wanted to work for them because it brought me so much joy and excitement. And at this point, I'm 40. It's like it's my family. So
I saw a video that you took. I guess a girlfriend at the time. To a Dolphin game or something like that?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we're talking about years ago then. 2 years ago.
Are you single right now?
Yeah.
We got to find you a girl. I want you to get married. I want you to have a kid. You're going to be a good daddy.
I know. Well, one day.
So where in South Florida did you grow up?
Coral Springs.
Fort
Lauderdale.
Okay,
I'd say. Yeah. So Fort Lauderdale to the general public.
Right. So a lot of people now, when South Florida people that grew up outside of Miami, like Fort Lauderdale, when they come to another place, they just say Miami.
Fort Lauderdale. Yeah. Or Miami. If it gets very broad, if it's someone foreign, then I'll be like Miami.
Yeah.
But then most people in America know Fort Lauderdale. Yeah. But if they didn't, I would say Miami.
Now, growing up as in high school, we used to go to Fort Lauderdale because there was clubs up there that were like, teenagers could get into.
Yeah.
They would throw a lot of raves up there. I was a kid that went to a lot of raves. But I would tell my parents whenever I was going to Fort Lauderdale, we're gonna go visit the United States of America because Miami is such a foreign place.
It's such a foreign place.
Yeah. Although Fort Lauderdale still has a lot of Cubans and all that stuff,
but not the same.
They're still maybe a minority. Whereas in Miami,
I feel more at home in Fort Lauderdale.
I'm sure you do.
I go to Miami and I'm like, every place I walk, they're like, and I go, no habla español.
Did you speak any Spanish? Did you pick up anything?
I'm an idiot.
Viste, arroz, frijoles, like food orders.
I never learned. I'm so annoyed. But like what? But it's like I know very little.
And they all assume that you speak Spanish.
Yeah. Always. I get off at Miami International. The Uber walks up and they always say something like, and I'm like, no. I just say no.
Well, that's
because I know that they're asking me like what I am or something. I just always say no, and then they go back to English. So I don't know what they're asking, but they're not asking, "Do you speak Spanish?" Because I would know that.
Yeah.
So they say something else every time, and I don't know what they're saying. Maybe they're asking if I'm Cuban or if I'm.
Well, they just assume like you're a whiter looking.
So
Cuban
I would love to know the one word they're saying though.
Yeah.
But they always say something, one word, and I go no, and then they go back to English.
That's hilarious.
So I don't know what the one word they're saying.
But you fly into Miami International, not Fort Lauderdale?
Most of the time now because I'm going to Miami because a lot of my friends live in Miami now.
Okay, so a lot of comic friends?
No.
Just a lot of
my high school,
your
college
Fort Lauderdale friends moved
all my friends, all my real friends. Yes,
it's popping off right
now.
now. So tell me about the Miami comedy scene because during COVID, because Miami stayed open, the Miami Improv really benefited from that, right? Andrew Schultz and his crew went down there, kind of took over. When I grew up, there was the Miami Improv, and we'd get some acts coming in, but there wasn't a Miami comedy scene. I remember you and me did like the stand-up comedy at the Tobacco Road and in the back of a bar. And
I don't think there's. I mean, there's a little scene. I still don't think it's good. Like even when I talked to some of the, like I was just on another podcast down there, like this. 2 girls, 1 blunt, whatever. I want to give them a shout out. They were telling me it's like, they do some don't tells down there, but like you have the Miami Improv, but that's bringing in weekend headliners. During the week, there really isn't much. There's not like a scene like New York, LA, Austin now, Chicago, Vegas. I think it's enough to get up a couple times a week, but I don't think you're going to really grow into who you're supposed to grow into if you wanted to pursue stand-up comedy as a profession.
And the other thing is that Miami crowds are so unruly and drunk that you have a whole crowd just chiming in, right?
Sometimes.
No? Or have they gotten to learn?
I was
like, the
there this
respect?
weekend, but I was with someone who sells out. I was with Russell Peters, so
nice.
They were great crowds. I actually like them a lot, and they love it because I kind of pushed the envelope and crossed the line a little bit. They did not give a crap.
No, they don't care.
They don't care.
Yeah.
So they were fun, and I like comedy works everywhere, right? If it's funny, it's funny, but it's a little bit more spread out. You have comedy clubs in Orlando, Tampa, on the West Coast, Naples, Miami. There's one even in the Keys. So there is comedy in Florida, but it's not like how it is in some of these bigger cities, like where you could jump around and get up 3 times in a night or even twice, or I think it's very hard to get up 5 times a week there.
So going back to the comedy scene. So I was in Austin a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I did a short film, and it was at a film festival, and we got to go to the mothership and all that stuff. So is Austin now the next comedy scene city? Because obviously there was a tidal wave of comics that moved there with Rogan.
Yeah.
But is it gonna be a long-term thing?
I think so. I think it's already.
Do you like
established.
Austin?
I like it. Parts of it. It's not. I couldn't live there. I need to be I need the water.
Yeah.
I need to know there's water near me.
There was there were aspects
I need the ocean,
of like Miami and Austin. It was almost like a Texan version of like a Miami kind of vibe, clubs, partying.
There's a lot of partying there. There's definitely they love to drink. The comics in the scene there is a big drinking scene.
A lot of whiskey.
I think Austin will listen as long as the mothership's there and Rogan's there, and some of these big comics are there. It's always going to be a scene. It's definitely the top 5 scene. Nothing's going to ever be like New York or L.A. Like,
what do you think about
so New York, LA, but then you could argue that Austin could be 3 or 4.
Right.
Chicago's a great scene.
For sure.
I mean, even Chicago has a lot. Like I could go there for a week and just run around and do 10 spots. So Chicago's a solid scene, and then you have Vegas. It could even be a scene, but Austin's definitely top 4 now because there's a lot of shows there. But there's a lot of cities that you could live in now, technically. That you could bounce around. That
the difference between New York and LA. New York comedians really, they think a lot of themselves when they compare it to LA, which is more this industry town, this showcase town. And how can you compare the scenes? Do you prefer the New York comedy scene, or do you like the LA comedy scene? I think the LA comedy scene gets on unfairly sometimes by some of these guys in New York.
I mean, definitely LA has the better comics now, right? Because all the most famous, biggest comics are here. Bill Burr, and that's it. But still, you have a lot of them are here because they're working and doing other things. I wish I started in New York, to be honest. If I could go back and do it all over again, I would have went to New York and started there and then came to LA.
Okay.
I just feel like it would go backwards now if I did that. But New York has a lot of stage time where you could actually kind of make a living in New York to a point and pay your bills. You can't really necessarily. It's very hard. Maybe like the top 2% of comics can really pay their bills making money doing stand-up in LA. Whereas in New York, middle tier comics can cover bills in New York because there's so many shows. I mean, you could actually do 10 shows a week easily, like actual shows, not open mics. Like open mics, even in LA, I was doing 10 open mics a week at least, sometimes 15. You could do open mics a lot in LA and New York and probably Chicago and even Austin. But in New York, I can actually get on 10 shows a week. I cannot get on 10 shows a week in LA. No, there's no way. You have to be a celebrity comic.
But when you're at your level, you're trying to get around the country right now, right?
Yeah, I that's the way to make money. I go up a few times a week. I'm just working on my material. I know how to do it, but I'm spending a lot of time editing, doing podcasts. You're doing a lot of other things. There's a lot of energy going to other things. Posting, trying to gain a bigger following so I can sell more tickets when I go to other cities because that's where I'll make money. And you really grow as a comic when you learn how to do an hour. That's like the next growing stage. Really, you're learning how to get good at comedy, but what you when you're a real comedian is when you learn how to do hours.
Now you've also opened up for a lot of good comics.
Yeah.
They've taken you on the road.
Yeah.
What makes you a good opener for someone that's big, that like, you know, a true headliner that can?
I think that people just bring their friends.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean like that, but like
I love how honest that is. No.
yeah, people bring their friends, but also like being valuable to them. Like, you know, helping out, you know, selling their merch if you can sell merch too, or like even, you know, like I was with Russell this weekend and I was just like I brought my camera. I go, you want me to shoot the show? No pressure. I was like, why don't you let me shoot the show? And then after the show I cut up a clip. I was like, look here, this is something I made for you.
That's awesome.
Because I was like, hey, you know, if you want, I can do this. So then maybe he'll like it. I don't know if he will, but he doesn't need it. But like maybe he'll use it and like it, and then maybe he'll be like, man, I should bring him more often.
Right.
That's valuable to me.
Yeah.
He's helping me make clips for my Instagram. You know, that's just a way I've always worked, is make yourself valuable rather than just there to get a free gig and money. But
how often do you get up a week at this point?
you know, at least 4 times, you know, like I have my workout rooms and I'm just kind of like, I'm not really doing what I do when I go on the road and do an hour. I'm kind of just like in the moment, being present and throwing out jokes here and there.
Having a career in stand-up comedy, is it unhealthy physically?
It doesn't have to be. It can
The
be
amount,
healthy.
because
Get a
so
good
many
sleep.
comics drink.
Some do, but I mean
And some do more than drink.
Some do more, some do, but some people don't.
And
A
you
lot
gotta be
of
up at
people
night.
don't. A lot of people don't. But like I woke up today at 11. I woke up at 11 today. If I wasn't on this, I would have slept till 1. Why not?
That's awesome.
Why the would I not do that? That's why I do this business, to do. I want to wake up every day naturally. I'm not gonna be told when to wake up. I don't like that. I want to wake up naturally. I go do my show, and then I go home and I'll edit some stuff, and then I go sleep, and I wake up. Same process. That's why I'm doing this. Why would I?
You're doing this so that you can wake up late.
I do this so I can go to bed when I want to go to bed and wake up when I wake up.
But
That
how
is the
about if you want to go to
happiest
bed at 10 and you're like, I can't go to bed at
thing.
10
Why would I
today.
go to bed? Why would I go to bed at 10?
Because sometimes you're tired because you woke up early that day.
Okay, then I would go to bed at 10.
But you got a show to do.
No, then I wouldn't go to bed at 10.
I know,
I wouldn't
I know.
have a show. I wouldn't have a show at 10.
I just feel that like those couple years that I did, the stand up and the grind and all that stuff is like you're out in some, I was about to say smoke filled club, but
Yeah.
that doesn't exist anymore. But still, you're in some like bar at 11 p.m. waiting, to finish up a show, and you're tired. And you're like, man, wouldn't it be healthier if I was home, chilling out, relaxing?
It's not for everyone.
It's definitely
not for everyone. But like I enjoy it. It's like, okay, even if I don't have a show, I'm doing other work. I have my routine now. The older we get, the more we like to work. I think personally, did you find that about yourself? Like as you got older and more mature, you're like, I like working.
Oh, fact.
I actually like doing work.
Fact.
So I like my routine. So there's nights too where I'm like, if I'm like at any given night, I could go up to the Laugh Factory, go upstairs and just hang out. And I have people I know. It's a community. I'm never lonely. These are my friends. I can go, even if I do a show and I go home at 12, I like to wind down. I get a lot of work done at 12. Like I'll go home, rewrite, listen to my set, and then maybe start editing stuff. And then I go to bed and I wake up, and during the day is kind of like running errands, working out, kind of like peace of mind. Like to me, I'm like healthier than most people I know.
Well, you're definitely healthier than most comics, for sure.
Yeah, but I think though the working comics are pretty healthy. They don't really have habits anymore. It's not like the 80s where you're like, this guy's disheveled and has an addict and he's crazy and he doesn't work in society. Like I think most successful comics like have their stuff together. Like any of these guys who are arena comics now, Nate Bargatze, Sebastian, Tom Segura, none of these guys are doing drug. They're normal. They're dads too. They're also dads. Now they probably go to bed a little bit early because they have more of a responsibility, but they have made millions of dollars. So they also probably they do a 10 p.m. show. They're probably home by 11, and then they probably don't have to wake up early because they have someone helping to take their kids to school, but they probably pick up their kids from school. You know what I mean? Like
This just came to me. I had a brief stint as a marijuana dealer.
Yeah.
I remember
you were the first person I bought from in Los Angeles. My roommate, Alex LaFleur, who lives in Miami now, and I still talk to him. He he had your number or something.
Wait, was he the one that used to work for Kevin Spacey's production company?
No.
Oh.
That would have been great. No, he was just a normal like 9-to-5er.
Yeah.
But he had it, and we would, because I would go and like pick up a nug and then roll a blunt, and you were my first connection. Literally,
I love that I can admit to that.
April, May 2010.
Yeah.
This is when I moved here. So almost basically 14 years ago, around this time, I was 14 years ago, I was buying weed off of you.
Yeah, and you show up in like a Miami Heat jersey. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
Just with him, and I was buying weed off of you, and it was. I feel like you were living in the same area.
Yeah,
you still do.
No, I'm in the same building, but in my own apartment. Because at that time, I had a roommate. Now I live in the same building, but on the other side, by myself. I'm high. Yeah. I'm balling. Listen, if you live in Hollywood by yourself, you don't have a roommate, you're balling.
That is balling. That is, it's.
If I bring a lady home, she's like, "Oh, do you have a roommate?" No, but I have 2 bedrooms.
That's big. There's no nobody's rich in LA. You're either wealthy or you're just like all of us, and we just
grinding.
We're worried, but then you start to realize, you get older, you're like, it's gonna be fine. I've always paid my bills.
No, but look, man, I have a lot of respect for your grind, the way that you've stuck it out, where you've come to, like, and your comedy itself, man. You're funny as hell. You know what I'm saying? And I do remember the early days where you were throwing stuff out there and working the open mics and with the other guys, and man, like hard work pays off.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm glad to see where you're at, man. I think we're gonna wrap it up now. Is there anything else you wanted to promote? Where can people find you?
Just on Instagram and YouTube, just Michael Lenoci. And if you like what you like, thank you. If not, then just leave a comment if you want. If you want to talk, go ahead. I don't care.
But don't heckle him live at a show, because he'll in a very calm way, he'll eat you alive.
Yeah.
Michael Lenoci, you've been on Checkitow.
Thank you.